Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you all to today's webinar on sales forecasting using AI/ML for driving smarter business decisions. We all know in today's fast-paced and competitive business world, the ability to accurately forecasting sales isn't just nice skill. It's a mission critical, right? Whether it's about staying ahead of the shifting market trend, optimizing inventories, or making a decision with confidence, sales forecasting powered by AI ML is changing the games for businesses everywhere. Before we dive into the fascinating world, let me take a moment to introduce myself and someone I'm thrilled to have beside me today. I am Pravina Shenoy, country manager at Opsio. At Opsio, our passion lies in helping businesses like yours harnesses the power of innovations and technologies to drive real tangible growth. Join me today is someone who perfectly represents the innovative spirit, and it's none other than our director Vaishnavi. She has been remarkable talent for transforming the complex concept into a practical, actionable strategies. With her extensive experience supporting the business across various industries, she played a pivotal role to helping organizations to build smarter, faster, and more predictive systems through AIML. Thank you, Vaishnavi, for being with us today. I'm sure that everyone here will benefit greatly from your expertise and insights. So, in the next 1 hour, we will show how AIML can revolutionizing the way you are forecast in sales, making your process smarter, more accurate, and driving greater profitabilities for your businesses. So, we will talk how you can predict customer demand and with confidence, how you reduce your guesswork in planning and decision making, how to streamline the inventories and supply chain management, and almost important, driving business with data by your side. By end of this session, you will walk away with the practical strategies and ideas that can start applying right away in your industries. So before that, let's go through the agenda. Well, we start with quick introduction about Optio as a AI innovation partner. Then we will dive into why accurate sales forecast is critical for your business success. Next, we will explore how AI/ML are transforming the industries and highlighting the key trend shaping the future and show how the data can be turned into actionable insights. Then you will also hear a real customer success stories, and we wrap up with showcasing how to get started with a POC, a proof of concept, to experience the real result. Let's get started to know about Opsio first. So at Opsio, we are the sustainable innovation partner. Our mission is to bring a cutting-edge technologies and significant innovation into your ecosystem, and we relieve you from your operation burden so that you can focus achieving your business goals. We take your IT operations on our shoulders, ensuring a successful implementation and managing with the top-notch quality of services that drive measurable results. Currently, we operated from two strategic regions. Our headquarters in Karlstad, Sweden, and our regional office is in Bangalore, India. Both locations are equally equipped with the similar headcounts and advanced technologies, enabling us to serve the unique need of each region. Under the Make in India initiative, we undertake a global project and deliver a world-class solution from our Bangalore office, showcasing our commitment to excellence and innovation. Certification are a testament to our expertise, and we are proud to hold 100 plus certification in-house. As an advanced partner with leading cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and GCP, we bring unparalleled expertise to the table. Additionally, we have extensive experience with on-premises solutions and VMware, catering to customers who rely on hybrid or fully on-premises setups. With over 3,000 plus projects completed worldwide, we maintain an exceptional customer satisfaction rate by 99.5%. So our solutions are sector agnostic, serving a diverse range of the industries as evidenced by our key customers across various sectors. So at Upfio, we don't just deliver the technology. We deliver the transformative solution that empower your business to thrive rapidly, evolving the world. So, without further ado, now I am very excited to hand over this to Vaishnavi, who will take us through the fascinating journey of AI-driven sales forecasting and its transformative advantages for your business and your growth. Please join me welcoming Vaishnavi to take us this inspiration journeys. Over to you, Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Pravana. Thank you for such a kind introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for making time and joining us today. As Pravina mentioned, in today's webinar, we will be exploring one of the applications areas of AI and machine learning in the sales domain and how it works. So let's get started with it. As we know, sales forecasting has been around for years and it has evolved even further with the capabilities of AI and ML implementations and the technology to process those data. So, before we get into understanding what sales forecasting is and how it works, let's take a look at some of the important metric that drives such applications in the first place. Accuracy is that one metric upon which all of our decisions are based in any business domain or application. Whether it's understanding sales for the next quarter or making strategic decisions, accuracy plays a central role. And how accurate we are in these forecasting, some things like cash flow or sales, is what this application is all about. There are, of course, other challenges and nuances that we will be discussing as we diffuse the information throughout the webinar. Let's say some of the key factors that really shape the forecast and improve their accuracy. On the right hand side, you see some of the factors, starting with internal factors. So, these are the factors that influence the performance of sales pipelines. These includes employee turnover, territory shifts, and even policy changes. The best part is that we have some sort of control over these factors and we know that how to incorporate these into our forecast. But there are also important drivers like economic shifts, supply chain disruptions, and changes in legislations which are external to us that can alter the market conditions. And these factors have some of the highest impacts on sales and are beyond our control. In addition to this, we also have product and service factors, whether it's a new product launches, upgrades, or service enhancements, these drive customer interest and demand. Then we have marketing and advertising. Strategic campaigns of ours, promotions, and advertising efforts can significantly influence these market responses. So, when we sum it up, all of these factors are crucial for us to create an accurate forecast that we actually want to rely on. Next, we will see what are some of the pressing challenges that are present in our current sale processes and serves as hurdle to achieving the needed accuracy and outcome. For many reasons, we all know that traditional forecasting is challenging, and some of them are really hard to overcome. To understand more on where we are, there was a research conducted worldwide on 1,200 companies called the Sales Forecasting Optimization Study. The result that came out from the study was kind of expected, but at the same time shocking. Studies show that the biggest obstacle to accurate sales forecasting is the lack of predictive information. And this accounts for the best in class organization as well, which sees a deviation of 20% in their forecasted accuracy. That means they're only 80% accurate in their forecast. So let's go through some of these challenges one by one to see what is really happening. The first we have is representatives being too optimistic about close possibilities. Now, what do we mean by that? From the study, we see that representatives are one of the highest prohibitors of accurate sales forecasting. Now, why is that so? More often than usual, the sales representatives either have no access to up to date data or they have a clear view of past a sales entrance. Without this, they might end up overestimating a deal. Sometimes they get their hopes too high about inquiries turning into customers, and if they don't properly qualify those leads and understand where they are in that current process, they might think the deals are more likely to close than they are. Things like changes in the market, shifts in the economy, and actions from the competitors can have a huge impact on sales, as we know. But if these representatives are not factoring the data in, they might end up being too optimistic about their chances. So, in this domain, experts say that it's very natural to be optimistic. But if the optimism is not backed up by data, meaning having good quality data, objective expectations, and factoring in external changes, it can lead to them being too optimistic and losing actual deals. The next three reasons we see are highlighted in bold, as you see. Now, what is the reason that they are in bold but not the other three are? It's because they are interrelated. For example, we can address the issue that representatives are facing by giving them high quality data, which includes external information as well. So the problem is highly resolvable. But if there are no systems in place to process and deliver this data to them in a useful way, then no matter how good the decision making is, they still won't be able to forecast sales accurately. Without the system to support them, they will be still missing that fundamental tool needed to make those real predictions. That being said, representatives being too optimistic about sales is about their view on it, but not having enough predictive information, information that is not accurate, and limitations on technology. All these are related to the limitations of the system that is currently there, which does not provide sufficient data to accurately forecast sales, making it even more tougher for them to take that data driven decision. Then the rest of the reasons, like reports being backward looking instead of forward looking and not having enough historical data, are part of the system and can pretty much be solved as a byproduct of the actual system implementation. That is automating sales pipeline. Next, we'll see some of the specific challenges that can hinder the achievement of accurate sales forecast when it comes to data and systems. First, we have data and analytics challenges. Since there are multiple data sources and varying data sources, it could lead to poor transparency, accuracy, and reliability. And inconsistent data in these systems and across departments can cause those misalignment in understanding the data between the systems and the departments, which again results in inaccurate forecast. For example, let's say the sales department relies on outdated data or fragmented customer data, while the marketing team has more up to date data and segmented information. So, the sales forecast may not completely align with the actual market conditions, and it could lead to a misalignment between the expected result and the actual sales. Incomplete and inaccurate CRM data. Low adoption of these systems, inconsistent usage of these systems, and poor data hygiene in those systems can lead to unreliable CRM data. So, this sort of weakens the foundation that we are really trying to build predictions on for making more predictions and accurate. For instance, if the sales teams are not consistently logging their interaction, daily interaction, or updates in the CRM system, the system might not reflect complete data or it might reflect the outdated information, causing the forecast to be based on incomplete data. And this can result in missing potential opportunities or overestimating an actual date. Judgment based forecasting. So we know that many sales forecasts rely heavily on good old traditional methods or intuition. So this can introduce bias sometimes and lacks the objectivity needed to make reliable predictions. A small intuition is always a good idea, but backed up by data is what always say. Limited analytics capabilities. The use of many different tools across the departments and outputs can lead to inconsistent forecasting. And this usage of different tools makes it harder to get good insights from the data, further complicating the forecasting process that we want to avoid at first place. For instance, let's take a company that might use one tool to track sales performance, another to make and manage customer relationship, and a third party tool for marketing campaigns. So, without having a proper integration with the analytical platforms of all this system, it becomes difficult to bring in all the data together to get a clear, accurate picture of the sales pipeline and market conditions. So, these are some of the most data and system related challenges that organizations are facing on a day to day basis when trying to improve their accuracy. Next, we will see what are the things that we saw. The first thing that we saw was we understood how important is accuracy in sales. What are the things that builds up and makes us to have that concrete reliance on accuracy? Then we saw the challenges that organizations face with respect to accuracy. Machine learning can help us to address many of these hurdles and streamline the sales pipeline so we get that accuracy we need. With the implementation of AI and ML techniques, we can improve accuracy by 30 to 40% compared to our good old traditional methods, which is significant. It can adapt to changing market with the ability to have dynamic changes in processing the data. It can help us to get consistent accuracy and take our responsive rates higher up to 20 to 35%. It can also generate the forecast in real time through continuous ingestion of data into a unified platform that the current system lacks, boosting up the decision making process up to 20% to 30% faster. Now let's see what are these real-time data that we are trying to ingest on sales into this unified platform by taking a hypothetical case. Let's assume there is a company that sells electronics and they need to create their production budget for the upcoming quarter. But the big question that the sales team will have is that what are those project products that are selling best right now in that particular market and in what geographical region if it is an international company. So then in an industry that moves so quickly like electronics, using real-time analytics based on the latest market and consumer data becomes very crucial. So without these insights, business end up risking overstocking products that are not doing well and miss out on capitalizing on trending products that are actually doing well. So how do we adjust our production based on real-time insights? Let's say a product starts becoming popular, maybe through viral reviews in Instagram or YouTube. In that case, production can be ramped up to meet the demand, while underperforming products can be scaled back to avoid those wasting resources. So, this whole process begins with understanding what is trending in the market, adding things like consumer behavior, online reviews, purchasing patterns of the consumers, and competitive pricing as well. So we might even go deep into understanding the product reviews on YouTube and Instagram, as I mentioned, to get a sense of which products are creating the most buzz. So by using real-time analytics like this, monitoring trends, monitoring consumer behavior and competitive actions, the company can optimize production, staying ahead aligned with what consumers actually want and maximize the revenue by making those data-driven decisions. In short, we can safely say that by adjusting production based on current demand, it helps us to stay ahead of the competition and makes us remain profitable and still relevant to the market. Next, we will see, as we saw previously, one of the key factors to success is having access to that real time data. And when we integrate AI and machine learning models into our analytical processes, we can make sure that these insights are based on the latest data available in the market and in our systems as well. Of course, the degree to which we can really achieve this real time data analysis depends on the specific needs of the company and the market in which the company is operating in. But the general rule of thumb is very simple. The closer we get to real time data, the more accurate and timely our decisions will be. The better we understand the real time shifts in customer behavior, market trends, or supply chain dynamics, the quicker we can adapt and stay ahead of the curve. The ability to respond in real time allows us to capitalize on emerging opportunities or pivot quickly when we see a challenge arising. So, companies that successfully integrate these real time analytics into their decision making process typically outperform their competitors who are working with maybe outdated data or a slower data. So, in fact, companies that use real time data increased their forecast accuracy by 50%, while those that don't often remain with challenges that the data brings to them. So it's not uncommon for us to say about a business that they see up to 10% higher revenue just from making decision based on the real time data. So the question is, how do we actually implement this? How can we set up those systems that gives us this ability to analyze and act on those real time data, ensuring we are always ahead and making best possible decisions at the right moment? Let's see how it works. There are certain processes and techniques when it comes to AI driven forecasting. So, even before we start with the collection of data, there's an important phase that we have to make sure that we have it that needs a dedicated explanation. So, which we will be taking on from for the next slide. But here, let's start with the first step, and that is data collection. So we start by gathering all the sales data and relevant information. We call it as metadata from different sources. Then we determine what should be the time frame, whether to have the forecast weekly, monthly, quarterly, or hourly sometimes. So this is specific to industry and the need of an organization. Then in the third step, we identify what are the external sources that affects the sales performance. It can be information on the competitor, their pricing, the organization's brand value in so and so market, in so and so region, or industry indexes like consumer confidence and index matrix. So basically, we will be taking all the valuable information that can be infused with the existing sales data. So this is done through different techniques like web scraping and many methods to make sure that we get the right information from the platforms like social media and websites which are authentic and that focuses on market trends. Next, we conduct a market research on how well the organization is performing in the market, region wise and also as a whole internationally. So, we understand the competitor performance and consumer preferences again to make sure all the important business metrics are factored in here. Then we do segmentation of sales. So this is the step where we actually break down the sales strategies that the current team has into different categories like products, customer segments, regions, products and regions, etc. To really understand the relationship between each other and what factors are getting influenced by what. Then, based on the use case we select with the stakeholders and the problem we need to solve, we evaluate what method should be employed to get the outcomes we want. Then we identify what forecasting techniques can be used that will give us the foundation to base our prediction on, and then we build the solution on it. Once that is done, we validate the solution and fine tune it according to our desired results. Let's see some workflow of AI ML driven forecasting. It all starts with data again, like we mentioned, historical data from the sales database, inventory data, and cash flow details. Next, external data sources are identified based on industry and specific business case that we saw, and also the problem we are trying to solve. Then inputs, which is very important from the sales team. We take the inputs and add it to the mix as well. So it gives a proper unified view of the sales. Then before we proceed with the analysis, it's essential that we process this collected data. So for that, we clean the data and transform it in a manner that it is suitable for analysis. Then we ensure that we have a high quality and consistent data, which is crucial for building those accurate forecasts. So all this data, once it has been cleaned and transformed and made data pipelines out of it, all these are consolidated into a data warehouse or data lake, depending on how the data is structured and the volume. Sometimes data might be scattered, sometimes data might be very well structured, and also the volume makes a huge difference here. So this is essentially a platform, a unified platform where we begin the data ingestion, analyze it, and build our predictions on. In this platform, we also build sales pipeline and AIML solution to create a model that can automatically analyze the incoming data from different sources, generate the forecast, whether it's for demand forecasting, supply chain, or cash flow, depending on the problem we are trying to solve with the team. Then the results from this platform are visualized in various forms of dashboards, APIs, and even CSV or Excel sheets to make it easier interpretation of the data and decision making. To achieve this accurate AI forecasting predictions, there needs to be one step that we have to ensure that it is aligned with what we are visioning for our organization. We need to create a clear forecast that aligns with our vision. So the rules are first having strong data infrastructure and high quality data. The next step we have is data consolidation. So after identifying data sources from different source location. So this makes it easier for the AI models to work on the data. So before we aggregate and analyze the data again, we need to clean it and ensure it's accurate and reliable. For example, this might mean that verifying the number of products sold in that particular region each month. Without having this crucial data to really understand and build the prediction, it becomes difficult for the analysis to proceed on. Then comes scalability. As the data grows over time, we must ensure that our storage and the management system and solution also scale with it. So this ensures that we continuously make use of the available data as it expands. Then we have real-time data processing. So real-time data processing, as we know from previously, is very critical. So this is most important step that goes into detail, and basically it ensures our forecasts are as up to date as possible, helping us to make more timely decisions as we move on with predictions. Then we have security, compliance, and governance. With all this data, we must handle it responsibly. There could be customers like who are adhere to GDPR or ISO rules. So security is paramount for these customers. And applying compliance with regulation and establishing a clear data governance on them, practicing it becomes a very important step. Then enriching data with external sources like market trends, weather patterns, or economic shifts can have a huge impact on demand. So these should be factored in the forecasting models for better predictions. To summarize, creating accurate and reliable AI forecasting models starts with prioritizing data quality, centralization, scalability, and also securing external data sources. And all these elements combined will be will form a system to ensure that we build a smarter, data driven systems that allow us to make better decisions. Next, let's talk about what are those things that really sets AI/ML implementation apart from traditional approaches and why it's changing the way how we look at forecasting. Let's take accuracy as our first aspect. So AI models bring much higher accuracy, unlike traditional methods that rely on simple static formulas or the models. So AI uses advanced algorithms that constantly learn from new data, improving their predictions over time. When it comes to scalability, they are highly scalable. It's very easy to extend these models to handle more products and regions and larger data sets without overwhelming the system. As the business grows, AI also grows with it. Then comes seasonality and trends. With AI, we are able to analyze seasonal patterns and long term trends more effectively. So, these models can actually automatically recognize shifts in the demand driven by seasonality and adjust the forecast accordingly. Then we have external data integration. Unlike traditional methods where external data is oftenly manually entered, here we can integrate the external data sources like weather, economic indicators, and ensure our forecasts are based on richer and more holistic data set from external point of view as well. Then we have promotions and events. So models provide deeper insights into how these promotions are actually affecting the sales in what region, and events related to those campaigns are also added into the sales, both historically and moving forward. We can predict how a marketing campaign or a new product launch will affect the demand in a particular region or in a particular country. Then forecast granularity. AI allows us to have a more detailed or a granular reports on the sales, whether it's tracking demand for a specific product in a specific market or down to the individual stores. AI can provide actionable information at every level that we want. Then it comes to real-time adjustments. One of the biggest advantages of these implementations is real-time adjustments. Traditional forecasting is often based on incomplete data or outdated information, but with this, we can really adjust the forecast in real time and always work with the most up-to-date information we have. When it comes to bias and subjectivity, we have to sometimes do the manual adjustments given by the experts, and sometimes it could introduce bias into the system or the data, impacting the accuracy of the forecast. In AI driven, it reduces the bias by simply relying on the data driven models that make and take the objectives from the data and predict based on the data. Then we have forecast horizon. So typically when we perform short term forecast, the traditional models are very well suited for it, but they struggle with long term predictions due to the limitations of those static models. But here, AIML offers flexible horizons, having us an opportunity, giving us an opportunity to have short, medium, and long forecast, allowing us to have a plan more strategic across different time frames. Then we have visualization and insights. Traditional methods provide static reports that require manual effort to interpret and often lack real time insights. But here, since the dynamic dashboards and real time data are infused into a platform, it offers a real time data and automated alerts which make the decision making quicker and more accurate. Then implementation speed. We all know that it's very hard to manually inspect and analyze the data on a continuous basis. But here, AIML helps us to have the data in an automated fashion, in a much more faster fashion, giving us a quicker decision making platform and the ability to act on these information almost immediately. Then, when it comes to handling anomalies, how do we actually find out if there is an anomaly in the existing data or in our system? It becomes a tedious task to go through all the data one by one to understand if the data is good enough for us to predict on. But here, models can automatically detect anomalies and adjust forecasts, ensuring our predictions stay accurate even in the face of unexpected changes. When it comes to collaboration, we know how do we struggle with these. Collaboration is slow and inefficient since information shared between the teams are manual, leading to delays in decision making. But whereas in AI/ML driven platform, real-time dashboards gives us the leeway of having those information and working on it as immediately as possible. So more efficient collaboration across teams are given, improving overall decision making speed. So, in summary, we can say that AI driven sales forecasting offers more flexible, dynamic, and faster approach to accurate forecasting as compared to traditional methods. Let's look at some graphs to really understand how do we predict or how do we predict accurately these sales performance. Let's take a graph that tracks sales forecast across each quarter. So on this graph, we have three distinct lines as you can see. The first line is sales line, which is in blue. This represents actual data, actual sales data, showing the real sales performance across the quarters. It serves as the baseline for comparing forecasting accuracy. Then we have forecasting with weather data, which is a red line. So this represents the sales forecast that incorporates weather data. So this forecast adjusts based on the weather patterns and how they might influence the sales. For example, seasonal weather changes could impact sales on certain products. For example, ice creams, winter jackets, or air conditioners. So this forecast line is more dynamic in nature because it is infused with these external factors and more responsive to those changes that we see in the sales. Then we have forecasting without weather data. So this is a green line that represents a forecast model that does not take weather data into account. So it's based solely on historical sales trend of the products and internal data. While this forecast might be useful in some or the other way, but it often lacks the ability to accurately predict the fluctuation that we see in the market with our products caused by the weather and demand those changes leading to less accurate results. So this graph shows us the impact of integrating external data like weather into sales forecasting into our AI models and what is the use and result of it. So, by considering factors beyond historical sales trend, we can achieve more accurate dynamic forecasts that align better with actual performance. Let's take one more graph to understand what is the relationship between a product's price and resulting demand. So, generally speaking, as the price of a product decreases, the demand increases. We know that. But there's an interesting point where the demand spike becomes more pronounced when the product's price drops to the lowest in its category. So, this is where we see the price elasticity curve in action, showing that as the price lowers, the demand rises, which is a typical economic response that we will see in the market. And what stands out is that how much steeper the demand curve becomes once the price is the lowest in terms of price and the quality. So essentially, this graph highlights the competitive positioning and external factors that highlights the competitive pricing effect when a product's price hits that sweet spot as the lowest in the category. The increase in demand is much significant so price competitive and demand or interconnect each other. So using machine learning to model accurately predict how changes in price will impact the demand. So this allows us to fine tune the pricing strategies even more, strengthening it and staying competitive in the market. Now let's see how can a unified platform, a small snippet of a dashboard, how it can look. Now that we have covered how factors like price, competitive positioning, and external factors such as promotion can affect the demand, let's see what are those factors that we can see in those dashboards. On the left hand side of the dashboard, you'll see the baseline forecast, which represents the expected demand without any external factors affecting it. From here, we can compare how actual sales are performed against this forecast. The increase and decrease lines show how sales are fluctuated compared to the baseline, highlighting the influence of things like price changes, promotions again, and shifts in the market conditions. We will also notice the past sales line here, which gives us an understanding of historical perspective of those sales or the products that have been trending over time. The x-axis tracks the timeline, while the y-axis represents the sales value over that period, helping us to pinpoint when these key sales events occurred and get information about them. On the right hand side, we can zoom in on a specific products with the start and end date filters, allowing us to focus on the specific time frames that we want to look into deeper of the products that matter most for our sales. What's really powerful here is that the ability to track key factors that influence sales. It can include promotions and discounts. We can directly see how these promotional activities or price cuts have impacted our demand. Weekdays sales pattern often varies with the days and in the weekends, helping us to understand what are those spikes and dips on those specific dates. Then it comes to seasonality. How can we identify how different products perform better during what season? So, which is very crucial for understanding future forecasting or demand forecasting. Then we have trends. Understanding long term market trends and consumer behavior gives us a better predictions and insights into those trends of the products. Then we have weather. External factors like weather patterns can have a big effect on demand, especially in sectors like retail and food. So by using such dashboard and information into it, we can see how all the factors we discussed, like pricing, positioning, promotions, and external influences, directly impact our sales and forecasting models. The key takeaway here is that by analyzing this data in real time, we can understand how the business can actually be shifted according to the market changes and really shift our strategies on the fly, allowing us to make a more smarter and uniform decision. Next, we will see some of the examples that really tells us that the solution is not a unified solution for all the industry sectors. So AI forecasting is not a one size fits all solution. It's incredibly flexible and adaptable to our own businesses needs and also the market that we as a business are operating in, making it a tool that can be tailored to fit our specific needs. So by now we know that the real strength of AI and real-time data. It has the ability to process industry specific data, which allows it to deliver accurate results and meaningful information that directly address the challenges that we are currently having in the sales team. So let's look at some of the examples that help us understand how does it works with different industries and different companies. For food and beverage, we have AI that analyzes consumer preferences and dietary trends, such as the rising demand for plant-based food or gluten-free products or sustainable products, for example. So, by recognizing these shifts in the consumer behavior, we can predict which products will be in demand, helping our business to stay ahead of the consumer needs itself. Then we have ice cream industry. Here it will consider the real-time temperature data like we saw. It can predict that ice cream sales will spike during hot weather and will drop when the temperature cools down. So this is the information that can really help us adjust the production and inventory according to our production and throughout the year. Then we have retail sector. In retail, AI looks at buying patterns, the impact of promotions, and seasonal events. By analyzing these trends, we can forecast which products will be in high demand, ensuring retailers are well stocked during the peak shop periods or the seasons. Then we have manufacturing. For manufacturers, it focuses on supply chain dynamics, production rates, and inventory levels as it helps us to predict future output by identifying what are those bottlenecks that are really hampering the production and make us smarter and take more decision to improve that operational efficiency. Then in healthcare, it can factor in seasonal illness, changes in patient behavior, and even equipment availability, as this helps us to take and ensure that we have right resources in the place at the right time, improving patient care and also the operations of the entire healthcare system. When it comes to technology sector, it looks at the product reviews online sentiment of the customers, and early adoption rates of certain products. And it helps us to predict how well a new product or a gadget will perform, allowing our companies to launch the products at the right time and with the right level of support. In short, we can definitely say that forecasting is customized for each industry. By taking in the data from different industries and companies' unique data and the challenges that they have, it helps us to navigate the specific complexities that we face on a day-to-day basis, making us to take decision much more faster and in a timely manner by also improving our efficiency in that. To understand all of this that we saw and to see the business benefits of implementing sales forecasting with AI, let's see some of the real world examples and how they are using this real time data into their business. Let's take Whirlpool, who has a huge name in the home appliance industry. So, Whirlpool had tough times predicting demand for their wide range of products. With so many product variations housing in their business, seasonal trends, and quickly changing consumer preferences, getting the forecast right was pretty complex. And as a result, they faced issues like running out of high demand products and having too much of other items, which sort of hampered their production schedules and inventory management. To tackle these problems, they used machine learning by combining their sales data with the external factors, things like weather patterns, regional economic conditions, and even promotions that they are currently holding in regions. They got much clearer idea of what products would be in demand in the next quarter. So this helped them to predict demand more accurately, region by region and product by product. The results were remarkable. With better demand forecasting, they made sure that high products are always available, which meant fewer lost sales and a nice boost in overall revenue. More accurate predictions help them to balance the stock levels, avoiding both overstocking and understocking, which has saved them a lot of money on storage cost and prevented waste. With the right products available at the right time, customer satisfaction went up and they saw more repeat purchases on their well versed products. Because they had a clear understanding on the demand insights, they were able to adjust production schedules based on real market demand, improving how they used resources and speeding up production times. By minimizing both stockouts and excess inventory, they cut down operational cost, which improved their profit margins and also made the process more efficient. Let's take another example to see how this works. Let's talk about Walmart. Walmart, as we know, is a massive retailer with thousands of products across a range of categories. They were too facing some tough challenges when it come to forecasting demand accurately. So especially with the seasonal changes and unexpected events like natural disaster and even global crisis like COVID-19. So on top of that, they were really struggling to manage a complex supply chain and avoid issues like stockouts or overstocking. And in such fast paced retail environment that they are in, they also needed to adjust their pricing strategies in real time to be ahead of their competitions. So what did they do? Walmart used machine learning to analyze huge amounts of historical data that they had, then added external factors like weather, trends, and consumer behaviors to help them forecast demand more accurately at the local and also at the regional levels of their sales. They also implemented AI driven dynamic pricing algorithms, which allowed them to adjust prices on the fly based on competitive pricings and shifting consumer demand that they were seeing. The results were pretty impressive. They were able to reduce stockouts and lower inventory costs to more precise demand forecasting. They were able to see what are the replenishment schedules that they want to have, cutting down on unnecessary inventory and warehouse cost. Dynamic pricing helped them to adjust prices in real time, boosting the revenue by 10 to 15% by ensuring they always had optimal pricing based on demand they had and the competitive pricing. With more accurate demand forecasting, product availability improved, which led to their higher customer satisfaction and a better retention period. For the last case, let's see about a fashion retailer called ASUS, a leading online fashion retailer. ASUS faced challenges in predicting demand because fashion trends change so quickly, we all know that, and many of their items have a very short life cycle. Unsold inventory loses value very fast, so getting the forecast right is crucial for such retailers. Plus, ASUS operates in a highly competitive market where personalization and timely promotions are a key to driving those sales, including the influencers. So, in an online shopping environment where trends can shift so rapidly, predicting demand gets even more trickier as compared to retail. To solve these challenges, they used AI and machine learning to analyze customer purchases patterns in their website interactions, and also social media trends along with the influences. They were able to predict demand for a specific style, sizes, and also colors much more accurately. So they also used this predictive analytical capability to improve the management of the inventory across their global supply chain, which is massive. So the results were pretty clear. The personalized recommendation boosted their conversion rates up to 20%, increasing their revenue up to 10%. Machine learning helped them save millions of products that were understocking and also boosted by reducing the stock holding cost. AI driven promotions allowed them to preserve those margins while still driving the sales for them. Next, we will see some information as a conclusion. So, as we wrap up the things, let's quickly review the key takeaways from using AI driven sales forecasting and what it really matters for the businesses. The first we have data evolves with our business in real time. In this day and age, as data is growing in trillions every day, it's one of the biggest advantages of AI is to that data is kept along with the real time data in the systems. Gone are the days of relying on forecasts that are months old and likely outdated. With AI, we can forecast the data constantly every hour to reflect real world changes, whether it's a shift in weather, new market trends, or even an unexpected economic shift. We're always working with the most current data available. Then we have decision making becomes instant and precise point. So this point is very important because this constant flow of real time data that we saw makes decision making process faster and more accurate. Instead of waiting quarterly reports or annual reports to update us on the information about our products, we can take informed decisions every day. So dynamically, we can also adjust what are the products that really matters in the market and take a huge advantage in today's fast moving business world. Then we have unknowns and uncertainties. Business is unpredictable, as we all know, and there will always be uncertainties tied to it with every step. Traditional forecasting gets defeated by these variables, but with AI, we can adapt to them instantly. Whether it's a market fluctuations or weather event, we can adjust, helping us to minimize the risk and even turn those challenges into opportunities. Then we have unlock the invisible value. So here is where AI really shines. It's not just about making forecast more accurate, it's about transforming the way we see and operate our business. From improving cash flow to optimizing the resource allocation and gaining a competitive edge in the market, which is very important. We are no longer just reacting to the events that we see. We are actually proactively driving our business forward. So, by integrating AI into our forecasting, we are not just cutting those manual errors that we see in those traditional methods, but we are actually reshaping the entire strategy of our sales, driving the growth, and even doing the optimization on our process and setting ourselves up to stay ahead to those competitions. Things like traditional forecasting simply cannot provide us right now. Now, let's talk about the implementation cost of such applications. So, now the AI driven forecasting cost will be around 1,95,000 per month. So let's think of this as an investment rather than an expense. So firstly, we get to have the right data infrastructure for our company. If it doesn't exist, like we talked about, we get to have better sales pipelines that gives us the power of real time data, and mainly we get to do better forecast, quicker decision making, and more precise inventory and resource management that will eventually lead us to higher efficiency, lower the unnecessary costs down, and ultimately stronger profits. When we really break this investment down, the value we get far outweighs the initial cost that we put in here, as we see. So it's not just about cutting manual errors, it's about transforming our approach to our business and the products and helping us to grow and stay ahead in the market as the data grows constantly. Now that we have done an overview of how the process works through a technical perspective, and how these technologies can really drive the impactful change that we really want, we want to talk about a unique opportunity that we want to offer to our audience to take the things a step further. So we are currently looking for 5 businesses in the industries to collaborate with us on a POC project. So this POC will allow us to work closer together to identify what are those best solutions for the business and test them in your real environment. So the goal is to basically demonstrate the benefits of these solutions and prove their potential for a larger scale implementation. So in other words, we want to ensure that everything that we have discussed so far translates into an informative and real world results for the business and the problem that you're looking to solve. So if you're interested in being one of those selected business, we would love to connect with you. So please feel free to reach out to us with our contact details in the upcoming slides, and we will schedule a call to explore how we can work together on this. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll be signing off now, and I'll hand over the mic to Pravina. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaishnavi, for taking us through this powerful and insightful session of AI-powered sales forecasting and its advantages. This has truly been a potential a game changer for the companies that aspire to stay ahead of their competitors, isn't it? So the cost mentioned will, undoubtedly deliver a significant ROI, and integrating AI into a sales forecast will enable every companies to better plan their production, marketing, hiring, supply chain, so on and so forth. So this will help to transform their business with the data-driven approach, right? So, however, the POC, which is undoubtedly is a delivery a strong result and demonstrated the value of AI can bring to your businesses. I am very confident that everyone who attended today's webinar will be inspired to start discussing with us soon, and its benefits are truly a compelling. To understanding your interest, we are sharing a quick feedback form here, which will only take a minute to complete. Please use to share your thoughts and your interests so we can connect with with you to explore how we can help to accelerate your business growth into a smarter and faster and efficient way. So now I'm very much truly excited to share more information here, which is the upcoming webinar which we are conducting, especially focused on food and beverages industry. This is going to show how artificial intelligence and machine learning is helping businesses like yours to increase the customer satisfaction and profitabilities to the next level. So the webinar is happening on 28th March, coming Friday. It's completely online and you can join us anywhere. So I would request your participations, and also if you know someone who at your network who might be a benefit of this information, please do share along with them so that they can also get acquainted with this information. So let's come together, learn and see how these technologies are shaping the future of food and beverage industries as well. So, and with that note, it's a time to say goodbye for now. But remember, we are always just away from the email or the phone call. If you have any business concerns or challenges, do not hesitate to reach out to us. With the power of AI and machine learning, we can definitely find a solution tailor made to your need, and you take your business ahead from the competitive ahead. So thank you everyone for making this successful, and looking forward to your presence in our upcoming webinar. Please follow Upsio page for more details, and wish you a great day ahead. Take care and thank you so much.